He's the host of Crucible Radio and one of a select few who traveled to Bungie Studios to participate in a community summit. The attendees asked questions, gave feedback, and engaged in detailed conversations with the developers. Those stories and Andy Rooney tonight on 60 Minutes.
If you stop with enough time to let it all slow down in you, let your arteries grow cold, their walls shift into a mold. It'll stretch from limb to limb. You'll pour out from edge to end. Fill yourself up stagnated while I pull ferment.
Hey, Swain.
Hey, what's up, Bones?
Oh, not much. Welcome back to your home, which I am not at.
I was actually closer to you earlier.
I know, right?
Yeah.
You and Dan actually had multiple friends in the same time zone that I just couldn't hang out with. But yeah, you had a bit of a travel this weekend.
It's been a long week. A lot of work. Like, I had to jam a lot of work into the beginning of the week to make it okay for me to leave on the Thursday.
Yeah.
But it's been long, and I'm back. I got a good night's sleep. I'm ready to talk all about it. I'm going to tell you everything, literally everything.
Let's see. You heard it here first. Crucible Radio is going down in an explosion of flames.
Blaze of
Telling all.
NDAs.
We don't care.
No, I won't tell you everything, but we are going to talk about what I can say. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. There's actually a lot of other Destiny stuff going on this week too. So we got
right. Like right before we left, it was like Wednesday. They dropped the TWAB because they're going to be busy on Thursday. So
yeah,
we got a little bit of an early peek at some things.
Oh, I know. All right. Well, first of all, welcome to Crucible Radio, the podcast for all things Destiny PvP. You get a solo bolo
PvP.
This week.
Yeah, me and Bones.
Yeah, and Birds is, I guess he's just taking a week off.
Yeah, he saw the opening and he was like, I'm gonna take a week off.
He's like, do you guys want to do this like a 2-person thing for 3 weeks in a row? Like, fine.
He likes patterns, so I think this was more so like finish the pattern. Of us, like,
once you start, you
out.
got to kind of get through it. Okay. So, boy, this week at Bungie dropped on Wednesday. This was chock full of juicy goodness. One of the bigger things that they detailed was the actual power climb, as they're referring to it, the actual way you progress to your highest power level, or your light level, as it was commonly referred to in Destiny 1. And it seems like overall they're slowing it down by quite a bit.
Yeah, it seems to me, based off of some of the conversation I had at Bungie and from this article, that they are trying to add the grind back in, so that you have, it's not easy. It's not a very easy path towards the max power level, which, regardless, there might be a loophole still, but you never know. But it's going to be really, really hard to reach max level based off of just like clan engrams. It seems like they wanted to take the wind out of the sails of clan engrams, because people are just getting them and not like caring about doing the activity that's tied to it. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of personally feel like the clan engram is a little weird because you get the gear you'd otherwise play the activity for.
Yeah, that's how I got my darkest before.
Yeah, like stuff like that. Like, I wish, maybe more people would play Trials if you just didn't get all the guns over the course of a couple weeks. But yeah, it's definitely weird to just show up at the tower on a Tuesday and be like, great, I'm 10 levels higher.
Thanks, friends.
Yeah, we need that feeling of accomplishing something once you get up there. I feel like there's a lot of players who just are doing it because they did it in D1 and then sort of even don't know why. And then I did, I saw a few upset comments about how basically because the end game activity is your best possible chance to move up quickly, that solo players will have a hard time. But I gotta say, like, if you gotta play Destiny exclusively solo, having something to constantly do is exactly what the game should be doing for you, which is giving you an opportunity to consistently over a long period of time, build towards, the final power level and your power height. So while I understand that, it's easier for some people if they have a big, busy clan, but I don't think it's going to really hurt anyone because it's not like they are creating a lot of scenarios where you won't be able to participate in events because your power level isn't, 335 or whatever the new max is.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like, what do people like to do solo? Like, you can't technically do much of the end game solo because, like, what do you?
Yeah, where the high damage enemies are.
Yeah, you were already going slow when it came to light level grind or a power level grind anyway. Like, you were getting it from Crucible engrams, and there's a pretty, like, the fire hose of loot in Destiny 2 is pretty, like, it's set pretty high. Like, you're getting stuff all the time. Like, whether it's from vendors, you're getting it from drops after an activity. Whenever you hit the chest in like a strike, like, it's like a waterfall of loot that just pops out of the chest. So I think there's gonna be plenty of ways for you to kind of, casually grind your way up here and there. But Destiny's all about, like, doing activities with friends and finding people. I highly suggest, like, try out guided games. Like, you can try and say, like, if you get a clan that looks like you probably won't like, just hit next and someone will be along. I think I had, like, when I was grinding for the DFA, no one was on. It was real late. So I was like, I'll just go into guided games. And it took 10 minutes max to find a game. And it was pretty cool. Like, they knew what they were doing and I knew what I was doing. So kind of speed run through it. And I know that some of our clan has actually done some guided games. So
yeah.
I know Cable and Otter like doing it.
Definitely. And, speaking of the grind for DFA, like, I think Birds and I were just talking about that a little bit last week. And it took long. And then I think I mentioned it last night. But, like, the difference between an RNG grind where it is, you have no idea how long it could take, or it could be over and done in an instant, is so much different than a consistent, milestone kind of grind. So every week you can get a little farther, a little farther, a little farther. That's consistent, where you do see that improvement. You don't have to do it a bunch of times and have truly no idea if it's going to work that time or not. So overall, I think this is probably a better grind, just because it will give you that that actual indication that you are moving towards a goal over the course of a week or two.
I definitely think it'll be, you're going to want to grind more because you're going to see that some things are locked behind power level or, like, are going to be really hard without leveling up. And you're going to want, like, every week you're going to be like, okay, I need to do my Nightfall. I need to do my Call to Arms. I got to do all the stuff that gets me the possibility of leveling up. And as long as you're doing it, you'll inch closer and closer. And hopefully that will, I know a lot of people want that, like those milestone, like you said, like I'm grinding all of the things I need to do so that I can level up. And that feels good. Like, you achieve something after a whole week. You're like, oh, cool. I'm 370. I just need the chess piece.
The other thing they previewed in the TWAB, a little flashier, and was these clips of the exotic tuning patch. And we had seen Graviton a week or two ago. And of course they included that, where we've got these exploding.
It looks like the hammers.
Yeah.
Like when the hammer explodes and it
like
all
these
kind of
tiny little Axion bolts, or it's sort of a messier version of Outbreak Prime.
Yeah.
On the Graviton Lance. And then they've got posted on Twitter a little bit before the blog came out was a preview of Skyburner's Oath, the Cabal scout rifle. And now it's shooting like a timed payload, not timed payload, but a travel time little bomb that tracks, or the precision scout. And that looks good. And then, of course, last but not least, saving the best for last. Rat Boys. This Rat King preview, you've got 6 guys in a raid, all with Rat King, so it's charged up 6 times, and now they've made it full auto.
I think that's something we were talking about before. We're like, that would be so cool if they made Rat King full auto. Yeah, because it's a tough gun to like tap, like get those like sidearm bullets off at your like max rate of fire. It goes pretty fast. So like, why not just make it full auto?
I can say with absolute certainty that it was a specific request I had, which was just like let it be full auto to experience that perk, and that's exactly what Mr. Wisniewski described. Like, people didn't even realize that you should pull it faster at times. It was hard to tell, or they didn't know based on the perk description. And then, like you said, it's physically harder, and it's funny because like on a controller, very difficult to do. On a mouse, you can fast press, but that motion is kind of strange. Like it's actually harder to aim and press at the same time since you're doing that all with one hand. So yeah, I think it was just a little, worked fine in theory, but functionality, it struggled. So now we just get that functionality issue completely fixed, and it's full auto, and it was melting those massive Cabal dudes
the
in
ones
the beginning of the raid.
At the beginning.
Yeah, and it looks really cool, and it's exactly what I wanted. It's up there. It could probably be my favorite weapon in Destiny 2 at this point.
What would you pair with 5.
There's so many options. I really like, actually, when I was running it a lot, an auto rifle works, and I know auto rifles are falling out of fashion after the latest balance patch, but it's still definitely like a good cover of other ranges. Otherwise, I think there's a lot of pulse rifles to be used at this time.
Sure.
The 390 Suros are really good, and in that energy slot, it'll work just fine. Or you can just get into the fact that, when you play with Rat King, you can play super aggressive because you're about to reload and stay invisible, so you can stay right next to someone or wait for that next guy to run in. You can be invisible and also switch to an SMG and still have that close quarters fight, not worry about your reload or fighting with Rat King again, but like just be this all out aggressive, sneaky in your face player, and it works out pretty well.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be pretty intense when it comes to exotic weapons in the Warmind.
And we also have Sturm and Drang, which I forgot about. It's not listed in this blog, and it's like, okay, so that's just 4, and we know there's 4 or 5 guns that aren't going to change. We know Acreus is not getting nerfed. I think they've mentioned that Tractor Cannon is going to remain how it functions. It's way back in some other blog. Yeah, the Mida. So it's not going to be everything, but there are a lot of exotic guns at this point. And just 4, just 5. Sets. Yeah, just throwing in those variations. It's going to be fun. And this is like, way back. I've said this a bunch of times, but like same with like subclass trees, and you're sort of identifying players by their style. Like these exotics will really, really influence your play style and your preferences and stuff. And I think that's cool. Make them rise above. They're exotic.
One of the pieces of feedback I gave when I was there, I was like, and I've kind of been realizing it, is like I play Destiny so that I can get like really cool clips.
Yeah.
And you need to be kind of good at the game to get good clips, at least montage worthy clips that you're like, oh, is that just a body shot with a hand cannon? No. So like, I want to get better so that I can make cooler clips. And I was like, one of the pieces of feedback I gave, I was like, I love that exotics feel more exotic so that the clips get cooler.
Yeah, right. Like it's going to be fun if you can get a triple down with Graviton because they exploded or something like that.
A triple down with like Graviton, or like you get some weird tracking thing with Skyburners.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna make everything more exciting. It'll make ranked very interesting. But I just so firmly believe, and we'll talk about this more the second half of the show once we talk about your the summit and stuff. But just like I've seen more and more people start commenting like, let's just make it a little crazier and have that stuff go wild. And you know what? If it's so fucking broken, it'll get fixed. But like, let's just like have a little
Let's
fun
have a
and
little
cause some
broken.
chaos. Yeah, let's have a little broken. That's a good way to put it.
The other thing that I've like recently like kind of come back around to is like I go through like the moods of like how I feel about playing and all that, and seeing like feedback from people in the community, and it's like, okay, well, we're coming from kind of like a vanilla meta. Like everything is like there's a lot of like powerful guns, but it's like nothing really stands out too high as like a cool thing. There's definitely some newer guns as we've gotten the updates, but as we go forward, we're definitely going to see some like I said, broken guns. Like some stuff is going to be real hot and real. You're going to see it everywhere. And I advise you, so that you don't tilt, use those guns. Like adapt. Use that thing that is good. And just enjoy it while it is crazy, because it possibly will go back down and another thing will come up, and adapt to the meta. That's all you need to do. It's harder if you're fighting against it.
That's true. All right. Well, we got a few questions from our Patreons today, and we've got your summit experience. Real quick though, got to talk about 6v6 Iron Banner. We played a lot. I know you got some games in before you left.
I got some games in before I left.
I don't think you slept this week so that you could play Iron Banner.
I played a bunch last night when I got off the plane, came home, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to bed, honey. I'm gonna go play some Iron Banner. She's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I really want to play. It got me hyped. So I was like really wanting to go back in. And right before I left, like I was playing a bunch too. And it was, man, I really like that sniper rifle, man. I can't say it enough. If it comes back around, that strike, and you haven't gotten it, go get it. Like grind it like you did DFA. It is sweet.
I think, it's funny because I did way, way, way more strikes for DFA, and I would do double that if I knew I could get Silicon Aroma and I didn't have it. It's such a good sniper, and it feels fun.
Like Destiny 1 sniping, man. That's how I feel when I pick it up. Like, I go for crazy hip fires. I go for like the really close like shots. It kills supers, like people out of super. So it's like strong enough to do that. It just feels like Her Benevolence or 1,000 Yard Stare. Like it feels like those type of guns.
And like maybe when you're sniping so much more in Destiny 1, like just more kills went to snipers. It was all about like, well, what's a good shot versus just a cheap one. And like, you know what? Like now it's just like, I want to get as many kills as I can and with every bullet and help my team and get those body shots.
Oh yeah. Body shots all day.
And it gets messy and you're just like, all right, we just killed 3 guys really fast because I just like blinted 3 of them. Like that's fine. It's really nice to feel like that weapon gives you power. So when you pick up that ammo, you're like, yes, this can result in a game shifting swing because I can get 4 kills, even if I'm just getting team shots with a sniper. So it's nice to have a little bit more power back in your hand with a sniper rifle again.
Yeah, I was, that's another piece of feedback I gave. I was like, just make more of these. Like this gun right here, like just make a ton of these and people will be happy.
Yeah.
Silicon Aroma.
Well, yeah, and it was definitely fun in 6v6. I do like the extra targets. I did, of course you get clips. 6v6 is for clips.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see a super get 4 and 5 more consistently.
Not even just a super, like someone going off with like a shotgun.
Yeah.
In the kill feed. Like we were playing with Keen and he was just like, he was playing with Telesto, I think, the one night, and just like getting like crazy kills with it. And there'd be moments where you look at the kill feed and it's like kill. And I was like, wow, it's been a while since I've seen that. Like,
Yeah, right.
you kill 4, you usually have to like really push a spawn to get more than 4 in a row. So it's been, I didn't think I would miss it. Like, I thought I'd come into this week and be like, 6s again. Like, this feels crazy. This feels like a little too much to me. But when it came back, I was like, man, this is fun. I don't know if I'd play it all the time or if I would want it all the time. It feels good as like coming around all the time, like as like Iron Banner or like a playlist rotation. Like a 6v6 rotation would be nice because like I don't always want to be playing it, and I think there definitely is people that do prefer 6s, but quick play 4v4 is pretty fun too.
Yeah, I totally agree that 6v6 as a rotating kind of event versus the full-time playlist. I realized that even at the end of this week, for the first time playing 6s since D1, that by the end of it, I was like, okay, the excitement has worn off. You know, the clips are good, but I'm getting shot by some dude who just showed up late when I could have pulled off a bigger play. And, you know, there's no way to account for that because they're spawning right next to me. Just because, you know, there's smaller maps and stuff like that. So, like, all those same little gripes I had in D1 about 6s, I started having again. And that's not a critique on D2. That's a critique on my, you know, that's my preference of how many people I want on a map. But I do like it as an event. And I think what's really big for me is that it sets Iron Banner apart from the rest of the Crucible, because now that we don't have now. Yeah, and power levels, like, it existed, but I didn't care eventually. Like, you know, you didn't go into Iron Banner and worry about your power level in year 3. You know, it was just there. So I like that it sets it apart and makes Iron Banner like, yo, Iron Banner is crazy. There's 6 people on each team. Otherwise, that's not there. And I think that makes it feel special.
This was something Dimji confirmed on Twitter, I think yesterday, though. We are getting another one before season 3. So if you didn't finish all your ornaments, you will have another chance.
It's coming back around real quick. I was like, whoa.
It was like Mayhem. I think Mayhem's next week, and then it comes back around to Iron Banner. And I think that's to make up for the pushback. Like they were,
because
they were intending to do it anyway. So I'm happy. It's okay if Rumble's not around for a week if I can get my last ornament. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, good stuff there. I like that it's not permanent. I don't want permanent 6v6. Okay, so let's answer some questions from our patrons.
If you want to support us, though, we really appreciate it. Helps us pay engineer Andrew. Helps us get our graphics done by Dan. Helps Otter. He helps us out as well, and we take care of everyone. We make sure that we're not. We make sure we don't want to just be like, hey, you want to do this for free?
Yeah, and it really actually helps, you know, with the team, take some pressure off us because we all work full time. And when it was just us, we were like, wow, this is our whole life.
So, I mean, if you want to support us, head on over to patreon.com/Crucible Radio, and anything that you can contribute, we are much appreciated. You get into the special Discord channel where we talk about everything, pretty much anything you want to talk about. It's like a direct line to us. If you, even if you support us with $1 a month, you get access to that. So, Bones, you want to ask the questions?
Yeah, let's do this. All right. First up from Nick, aka our dear friend Bungie. Do you guys think this update has given more people a reason to queue up alone rather than only with a full fire team in quick play? You know, this update being Go Fast, I feel like is our last big update. And I would say yes, based on my own evidence of the fact that I do it, even though I don't love solo queue. I do feel like Go Fast has given me the moments, more power ammo, a little bit of speed where I am getting more exciting plays than I was, and that has brought me back into it. And you know, part of it is just like trying out new subclasses. It's nice to play something else. But yes, I will say
I think
yes.
adding the exotic tuning on top of this will make it even more easy to queue up alone, because you'll be able to, if you are talented or you just get a good play, you'll be able to contribute a little bit extra to your team that's not communicating with you, especially if you're going up against like a team of 4, which seems to be the case a lot when you're playing solo. So don't let it tilt you, but you know, hopefully some more exotics will make that a little bit easier on you. I know I solo queue a lot, and having Rumble around, obviously, since the update has been nice. And it's a really great solo queue playlist. And I even got some like good solo queuing in on Iron Banner. I lost a decent amount because no one knows how to cap a control
People
point.
are bad at control. People are so bad at control.
But other than that, though, like it's still easy to solo queue into Iron Banner.
Yeah, it's brought me back in a little bit. Okay, so question from Josh S. What's something you guys are looking forward to now that it's spring, aside from drinking beer? Well, I don't drink beer, so I'm not excited for that for spring. I'm always excited for spring when the sun is fucking up later.
Yes.
That's a huge impact to my day. It's the difference between leaving for work and there's sun versus leaving for work and it's pitch black already, and I've spent 8 hours inside, and that impacts my traffic on the way home. When it's dark, people drive slower.
Yep.
So I get home sooner and it's light out. Oh my God, that's the best feeling in the world. And also, I guess if this question was related to Destiny, then I'm pretty excited for new shaders. I'm thinking about that a lot.
Spring shaders.
Yeah.
No, I like spring so I don't have to wear like a jacket. I like wearing just like a t-shirt outside. So
yeah, that's a little. I see why you would say that. For me, it's not as relevant. I've been wearing a t-shirt for the past 3 months.
It's always been spring.
Okay, here's a good question. This is from Goodzilla. Hey guys, as a player still trying to improve in the Crucible, I'm always curious to see what better players have done to get that higher skill level. Can you each talk about one specific skill, tactic, or practice technique that you've learned along the way that positively impacted your success in the Crucible and helped you to take a step to the next level? Cheers. You got one, Swain?
Yeah, I could say something to that real quick. So one specific skill, tactic, or practice technique that I've learned along the way. I would say mostly the skill I took away was changing my loadouts depending on maps, or at least having in my whatever Guardian I'm using, I make sure I have some different ranges of play so that I can be effective at all ranges, depending on the map. So there's some closer maps, there's some long range maps where you definitely want to have like the option of a scout or your option of a sidearm or a hand cannon. So being able to adapt to the different maps has been one of the biggest things for me, and be able to play on that gun, like not just pick it up because I know it'll work on this map. I'm effective with those guns that I don't always use. So that's sort of a practice technique. You definitely have to go at it and do it over and over before you feel comfortable switching. Because like some people like to get in a groove with one weapon, and that'll be their night, like with that one weapon. So,
well, for me, it's like I have to change at least one weapon in my loadout every game. I just do it. It's like my habit. And if I like a gun, like maybe I'm really into Nightshade, I'll leave that, but I'll have to switch my energy weapon. Yeah. So if you're like me and you do that, make that decision based on the map. So it's like, okay, I got Nightshade, I can do sidearm, I'm covering my ranges. Well, this map is bigger, I won't be in as many sidearms engagements. Let's go with something a little bit more long range, and I can still use Nightshade if I want.
Something like in that medium range. Like if you're on a longer map, you want to have like hard hitting hand cannon along with your long range, because like, yeah, you're not going to get in that many close quarter fights, but you may get in some medium quarter fights. Like,
yeah, for sure.
You want to be able to push them away. Like, get away. Don't come in closer. I don't have anything that could deal with you if you get closer. What about you, Bones?
I'll say two. One was way back in D1, watching Fizzer play and realizing I needed to start pre-firing, because humans have object permanence and you know that guy is still there. And pre-firing is when you are literally shooting bullets at a place where you think a guardian might appear. And I just watched him do that with Maida, and I was like, oh, that you lose nothing. It's 3 bullets. You're going to reload eventually. You still have enough to kill.
Yeah.
Just shoot right there. And I'd watch guys think they're
it's
going to
so
peek
crazy
back out.
how many times it works.
Yeah, and you just peek out. And you know what? Like, even if there's like a lot on B and you don't have the best angle, you're kind of weak. I know you can still get a little tiny angle down the hall. Just like shoot. You know, empty a clip of pulse rifle there, because someone's going to, you know, be pressured from the other side and back into your line of sight. You help them team shot and stuff like that. Like, that's how team shot works, is if you put bullets in there. So yeah, pre-firing was huge for me, and I started really doing that consistently. In D2, maybe more relevantly, I've realized, like, you know, this is the yada yada hand holding meta. But once I broke out of that and into my more aggressive habits, my aggressive habits can still be dangerous because they can't be without strategy. But pushing in and making more aggressive moves to say, like, look, the only way this fight results in a solid win for our team, and not just like a bunch of trades for the next 10 minutes, is if someone makes a more aggressive move. And you watch good players, like if you ever come across a really good player and you feel like they're in your face the whole time, you're not getting killed by a really good player who stands in the back and snipes a lot. That's not what they're doing to like completely dominate a game. They're in your face and they're never giving you a chance to wait or a chance to just sit and crouch and get your health back. If you got someone weak, you've got to make that move. You've got to just push up, get that melee kill, and maybe get damage on the next guy so your teammate follows you in and gets that finishing play. But yeah, just going for that guy who's hiding and just deciding like, oh, we're done shooting each other from a distance because you hid behind a rock. I'm jumping over that rock. That's always my instinct. Go jump over that rock. So that was really helpful for me.
Next question is from Tiny Monkey Paw, and they ask, if you could create a cereal based on any Destiny weapon, what weapon would you choose, and what would the cereal be like? And if you want to sing a jingle for it, that would be amazing. I'm not going to sing. Bones might sing. You gonna sing, Bones?
It's too early. This is a morning recording for me. My voice is not warmed up. You can probably tell you thought I was sick or something. Way too early.
Just really sleepy.
A good Destiny weapon that could be called. I'm clicking around.
Yeah, I'm on Destiny sets.
I don't know why, but I feel like tractor cannon somehow works.
Yeah, I could see that.
Actually, no, the colony.
Oh, it's just a bunch of little like spiders. Yeah,
it's kind of gross because it's bugs, but it could be like one of those like creepy crawly cereals that kids like, and maybe it's got like a Pop Rocks effect. Maybe it could be something in it that like you pour milk over it and it crackles and stuff like that. It's all little spiders going like. That's actually
kind of cool. Mine would be for Crimson, and it would just be a cereal that like when you ate it, the milk turned to look like blood. And it was like good. It would be a really hard to find cereal because like it's forbade in the tower.
Yeah.
I think Sunshot would be a good one too.
I was thinking about
with the Sunshot.
Yeah, it's like a spicy somehow. Can cereal be spicy? I don't know. Maybe.
I don't want to eat a spicy cereal.
That's a spicy cereal. Oh boy, good question. Yeah, sorry, no jingle. If we weren't recording at 9 a.m., maybe I would. Okay. Thank you for those questions. And again, if you want to support, head on over to patreon.com/Crucible Radio. And
we do stuff like this. We answer questions. Private matches are coming out very soon. So we will
come get some games in with us.
Doing some games for Patreon as well.
All right, Swain.
You want to do a musical break real quick?
Oh yeah, we could. I got to get in my interviewer mode. So yeah, let's do a musical break, and I'll get in the zone. Yeah. All right. Musical break.
This week, we got music coming to you from longtime friends of the show, Khamsin. Love these guys. We played them before. Go check out their new stuff. They got this new double single out. It's great. That's Khamsin. Khamsin. Check them out. Khamsin.bandcamp.com. As always, if you're a musician, you want to hear your music. It is such a treat. Go and check that email account every week. So send us one. It's crucibleradio@gmail.com.
So, Swainstache, thank you for joining us today.
It's a pleasure, all mine.
First question. Why did you have sex with Donald Trump in 2006? No comment? Okay, let's move on. Okay. In all seriousness, you spent the day on Friday at Bungie Studios in Seattle. And, it was a returning visit for you. We've been there before. But this one...
Third time?
Yeah, that's right. It's been... Really? Yeah. Anyways, it's this one was a bit different. The first time we went, it was more of a, kind of get the tour, meet some people. And
we were in a very empty Bungie Studios.
That's right. The building itself was closed. There was no one working. This time was more of it had a heavier weight to it. I'm sure it's really fun for everyone who was involved, but it did have some weight to it that the future of the game could depend on what happened. And like they've said, it falls on the devs to make things happen in the game. But this was pretty big. This was you and a lot of people showing up to say, here's how we feel. How was it?
I came away from it very hopeful for the community. I talked to a lot of people while I was there. And Bungie did a good job of keeping it super diverse. So it wasn't like they poured in a bunch of like PvP guys and were like, all right, tell us all about what's wrong with the whole game. Yeah. They had a little bit of everyone, like Mylan Games from Destiny Down Under podcast. He's like super big on lore, and he got to go and represent the lore community. He even got some like the stuff that we it was kind of broken out into two groups, and we did a lot of feedback giving, but he actually got some like one-on-one time with Chris Barrett.
That's awesome.
And just talked about lore, which was really cool.
Yeah, I saw Chris Barrett tweeting some quotes from the Books of Sorrow. And I was like, whoa, they got deep.
There was some good conversations had, definitely. And I think part of it for the community was to like kind of get everyone together and see each other. We don't see each other that often all in one room. It's usually Guardian Con. And to maybe build some bridges with the people that work at Bungie. So hopefully we can avoid where it's like, okay, we all have feedback. We all have ways of saying like, no one likes this. People like this, but they would prefer it this way. it'd be a good way to build some bridges and say like, oh, I'm not like maybe just going on Twitter and complaining about it. I could just hit up the guy that makes it and say, hey, like, this person offered me an olive branch and said, hey, in the future, if you ever have any issues or you think there's a problem, like reach out to me directly. So a lot of bridges were built. I feel like some people that like don't necessarily have contacts at Bungie definitely came away with some contacts there. And it wasn't more like, I see a lot of people being like, they're trying to promote the Warmind DLC that's coming out. And that was probably the last thing on everyone's mind. Because they've done this, but like for every DLC, they've invited people to capture footage of what's coming up. So Curse of Osiris, Taken King, House of Wolves, all of those events had these types of things. They weren't talked about like the summit was. They happened. They definitely happened. This was Mesa Sean's 10th time there.
Jeez.
Yeah. And he's always just gone like, even he was like, this was so much different than what I've done before. Those were all capture events. And those were all like, hey, here's some, footage for when the thing drops or we do our trailer. You'll have timely content that you can be like, you can use for your channel. You can use to get some content out there that's for that DLC. So that happened. Obviously, like we captured some video, but it was really all about conversations. It was really all about talking and giving feedback to the people that make the game. And I felt like every single thing that I've heard before, because I'm sure you've heard every complaint that could possibly happen for Destiny. It had its place. And we talked about those things. A lot of people asked about their pain points. So if it was for the Crucible, it was like, how do you guys feel about sixes? Is there a home for sixes permanently? They'd ask about the sandbox and be like, what do you guys think about the time to kill? Should it be faster? They were asking obviously about the lore. Like, is there a better way to get it in the hands of those who play the game? People asked about Eververse and said, is there plans to, make the loot that comes from Eververse, not so exotic, some might say. There was a lot of like, no one pulled any punches. That's for sure. Like they wanted to hear it. That wasn't it wasn't even punches at that point. They were asking for this. They wanted this feedback.
And it's no wasted time, right? Like you get 2 days, you're bringing people there. It's not the moment for everyone to be like, well, kind of feel like this. Like you got to get it out there. And it sounds like the internet setting allowed for those things, which is, can be, really poorly, either poorly said on the internet or poorly received on the internet because it's a tweet with 280 characters. The intimate setting sounds like it allowed people to express themselves a little bit more directly with a little bit less like, I'm going to alt tab away from this game that I'm mad at to go type on Twitter. So that sounds good.
There was definitely like, it was built in so that on Thursday, I didn't get there until Thursday night, but it was built into the time on Thursday that the Bungie studios would socialize with everyone outside of the studio. And those were great opportunities for people to like talk to the people that care about the game. Because like I showed up at like real late on Thursday night and Nusk and Hamrick were, and Grant McKay, they were all still at the bar, like talking to people that were still there, like some of the summit attendees. And I was like, oh my God, you've been doing this all day. And it's like, oh, okay, like they really care about this game. And we've known that, like me and you know that.
Yeah.
We've talked to them before at length about these things. But for me, I came away from it thinking I don't need to be the person to shoulder the positivity about this game and its future. Because coming from us, it probably seems repetitive, to be honest. Like, we've always had this mindset. I was happy to see that others came away from it that way. Like notorious naysayers, some might say. Like people that were like very critical. And like obviously they're allowed to have those critical points.
And they're not unjustified. It's not just like random.
Yeah. I feel like some of those points though were just like frustration because they didn't have like that behind the scenes peek.
Right.
And they didn't have like that like interaction with an actual human being. They've never had that before with someone that works at Bungie. So doing it all in person and forging those relationships was like huge.
It's a very rare world where anyone gets to have a conversation like that with someone who makes a product. Because in the end, it's buying a thing you like and playing a game. But it's a wild, wild industry where you or select few people, or just a random guy on Twitter will have a conversation. But it is pretty wild to think that you can go in, talk to someone, have a conversation, realize this is your job, this is my hobby, this is my job, this is my hobby, and kind of have an impact on it or have a better understanding of it. Imagine when N64 games came out and you just bought it and it worked or it didn't. Yeah. And you liked it or you didn't. And it's a pretty crazy space to exist in now.
One of the things I talked with Claude about was like, he remembers purchasing a game as a kid and hating it, but he like still played it anyway because he purchased it. Yeah, and he like finished it up, and in the end, he ended up liking it. So it was like a little bit of a like, because we were all older gamers at this point, and it's like, yeah, I remember when you got a game and you liked it exactly how it came. I mean, there was definitely a lot that happened there, and they didn't want us to come away from this being the heralds of the future of Destiny. Like, be like, oh, everything is hunky dory. Like, they want that to still fall on their shoulders. Like, Bungie still has to make the game. Right. They still have to take this feedback that we gave and actually do something with it. Because it's like, we can't just get in there and be like, all right, let me turn some knobs. Like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make it better.
Someone falls back from the group as everyone's getting into her, and they just dip into an office on the right and start turning knobs, cranking some stuff. Pulse rifles, wang.
I do want people to know that like I feel like every aspect of this community was represented there. So it wasn't simply hardcore players. There was definitely voices there that were heralding for the casual player, like someone that doesn't have a ton of time. That was me. I was there. I was just going to say, people.
Like, yeah, you might be in the top 50%, but you're certainly not in the top like 1% in terms of hardcore players.
I mostly, like, whenever I went to give feedback, I was like, I'm coming from a point where I don't get to play a ton. Like, when I do play, I want to very much enjoy that time. It is my hobby.
Right.
And I wanted that to come through. And there's definitely, I wasn't the only person. Like, Arrow Knight was there representing. There's more casual players. The lore guys were there. There was some people that haven't even played the game in like months. Right. Lupo was there, which was like, dude, aren't you like you could be streaming for like 70,000 people, right? Like, what are you doing? But that was like, I feel like even like Lupo being there was like saying like, hey, this is where I came from. Like, this is the game I played for a long time. How can I help it become better? How can I voice my feelings about it? Because if anyone, like if he played it like on his stream, like right now, oh man, that would be messy.
Yeah.
But if the game gets to a point where it feels good and people enjoy it, like I'm sure he wouldn't mind streaming it again, like, cause he enjoyed it. And that's like a hardcore player. So those were represented there too.
Interesting. If I can ask, how did it rotate, or what kind of groups were you put in? Like, what was your opportunities like to talk to different devs, like a PvP versus PvE or an art person or something like that? Like, did it move around a lot?
They had play sessions, and after the play sessions were done, we got like into panels. So there was 2 groups. I think there was 40 of us total. So it was like ended up being like 20 and 20. And it was like a hand raising. Like, you have a question, like you have a feeling, like raise your hand and express it to this group of like this panel. The panels were made up of, you know, all sorts of people from Bungie. So that was diverse as well. It wasn't just like one section of the game being represented from them as well. Like, we had people from all sorts of parts of the game, and they had people from all sorts of parts of the game. So you just got to essentially like, you know, raise your hand, give feedback, and say like, and here's how I feel about this. And they got to say something and said like, you know, and it just went back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, I did actually see a few pictures on Twitter of you know, some devs that I think I had recognized a few people from the reveal event. And it was nice to realize like, oh, this isn't just a conversation of like, well, how can we make the sandbox better? It's time to kill. Like, it was not the time to kill conference. It was about every aspect of this game. And seeing a picture of one of the attendees talking about guided games with the dev, like, that's really cool, because all of those aspects matter a lot, even if there are a few that just remain the buzzwordy most common comments.
I even met someone from the Bungie store.
That's
like,
cool.
she was in charge of all the like merchandise that goes through the store, and I was like, wow, like I have a bunch of those shirts.
You're like, I like the stuff.
Yeah, keep up the good work. Where can we go?
So we know you can't talk about content because you know, that's
I got
one of the
embargoes
rules
on NDAs,
and they want to do their reveal, and we got a trailer coming the day after this drops.
Yeah, so I will be able to talk some stuff about Warmind on our next episode.
Okay.
So stay tuned for that if you want to hear a little bit about it. I can not talk about a lot of things. I think the biggest thing is they want to avoid making promises, because promises mean deadlines, and promises, like, it's really big leap for them to even put out that like roadmap. Like, that roadmap is like really raw for them. Like, you've seen things go on it and come off of it like already.
Did you see the tweet string from Noosk about putting out preview clips? Because
I did not.
It happened after the Go Fast preview clip of that little sniper tear on Endless Veil, and everyone immediately said like, "Why don't you do this every day?" And then he outlined it like, would love to. Here's what happens. And they have to do like, it's literally like a week of like 20 people making sure it's okay because of all the things it might include. Cause it's, you know, it's in development. It's got to go through a preview, like all this stuff. And I was like, okay, so that's a lot of steps. It's not that anyone doesn't want to do them. It's that is a lot of steps and could not be done in a day. So it actually gives you a little bit of understanding of what it took to do these exotic previews, even if they're 13-second clips. Like, they can't just show you stuff and let it be fine.
What we will see though is this same level of communication from them going forward. I can say with certainty that we will see more of it. It seemed like the summit talked a lot about, like, we as the community was like, we love this. We'd love hearing from you all the time. Keep it up. And hopefully those bridges will like remain. The bridges that they built through the summit, through these like, really in-depth roadmaps. It seems to be working better. Keep doing that.
Right. That's good to hear.
There is some really cool stuff coming, though. I can say that. Really, really cool stuff.
We can also say that your NDAs prevent you from talking about stuff, but you do have lots of NDAs past this week.
Yeah. So I'll have some NDAs later in the year. Some stuff that the other people that went got to see. I was not there for Thursday. Thursday was the future day, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Well, now you get to be surprised along with the rest of us scrubs.
Yeah. I get some level of surprise, even though I know some things. Yeah. I can say this with certainty: they are not done creating new things and creating new experiences. Like, if you think that all they're doing right now is focusing completely on fixing stuff, it's not that. They are definitely creating and continuing to try and think outside the box. And be Bungie Studios. They've always been the ones to do something really weird and be like, I hope it works.
Innovation will keep things fresh and exciting.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the people that left and were grumpy about it will see all of these people that were on their side. Like, there was definitely a lot of people that went that were on the side of like, fuck this. Like, I'm done. Like I've been, betrayed essentially by a game I love. And some of those people went and came away with it like, oh my God, like, this is in the right hands. They were just like, you come away understanding, like, this takes a while. And these people are going to be the ones that right the ship. Well,
that's pretty good. Those are some good words to hear for a lot of people. I think maybe even some of our own listeners. So I think we should leave
still
it
have
on
some
that.
listeners that just like listening to us. Hi, hello, all 5 of you.
No, we you know what? Honestly, we'll wind this down. But last week, again, shout out to Dr. Grimm and Simply. They did a great job.
Oh my God!
I know both of them were like, they're both like, what, Crucible Radio? Like, we're like, it's great. It's great. We edit. It's fine.
We're just a bunch of guys being dudes.
Just guys being dudes talking about Destiny. And we had a really fun time. And Birds and I had a great time in that interview. And I think it showed. And all week I saw on Twitter, on Reddit, and especially in the CR Discord server, just like a lot of people just really
lot of
happy.
Activity, man. We've had a ton of people in our Discord. Like, it was quiet for a little while there. I'll say that much.
Sure.
But there's definitely been this buzz. And if anyone is really good at creating buzz and hype, it's Bungie Studios.
and just the comments that people were happy to listen to a new episode of Crucible Radio at 147 weeks into the game is pretty amazing for us. So thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you for listening. We appreciate it. I think that's it, man. I think that'll do it.
That's it. Andy Rooney's not here. I lied to you all.
Oh no.
I'm very sorry. You're just gonna have to go out at the end with the regular plugs.
Well, I'm not going to do an Andy Rooney impression.
I don't think we should. It's too early again. We can't sing no impressions. Back to the regular schedule next week.
Really basic stuff here. So I want to say follow me and Bones on Twitter, but not Birds. Don't follow him. Follow us on Twitter. Swainstache _CR. and Bones_CR.
I'm thinking about changing my Twitter handle
to just Bones. Can you have Bones?
Bones is definitely taken, but I don't know. I was going to do some dumb variant on it, but like, I don't know. I'll think about it.
Hey, well, if he changes it, you won't find him. You'll still be able to find me. Swainstache_CR. And our Crucible Radio account, Crucible Radio on Twitter at Crucible Radio. We've been putting out stuff as far as information about joining the Discord server there. Discord.gg/Crucible Radio. Jump in, get hype about Destiny with us.
Come hang.
And come hang. Talk about the future of Destiny, and if you are as excited about me being excited.
More Warmind stuff next week.
I can't wait to talk to you all about the cool things.
All right, catch you later, folks.
Bye. Hello everyone, Swain here. You know that Crucible Radio is your source for all things Destiny PvP, and I know you want more than just this video, so make sure to head on over to crucibleradio.com to find all of our past episodes, detailed Crucible maps, t-shirts, and much, much more.